The day after I woke up and told my wife, why did I do that? I don't know. I just don't know what the hell goes on. I remember one thing, I had a very hard moment in that part of my life, but I assure you in that age, I could have put that clown in the first round, but I sold my soul, and I'm ashamed of it.
Is it true that you made $170 million from this fight?
I made a lot of money, the most money I've made ever.
60 million households, Jake.
250 million people.
Bro, that is so...
It's all downhill from here.
No, for sure.
I peaked.
How do you think the Jake Paul-Anthony Joshua fight plays out?
I don't know. I want to make sure. I believe it once I see him in the ring.
If Paul starts his boxing career earlier, could Jake Paul have been a champion?
Is it possible?
The next day, I woke up and said to my wife, why did I even do that? Honestly, I was lost. I didn't know what to do or where to turn. That time in my life was extremely tough. But I'll say this clearly. Back then, at that age, I had the ability to finish that guy in the first round. Instead, I made a choice I regret deeply. I feel embarrassed about it, like I traded my values away. Then someone asked me, is it true you made $170 million from that fight? I won't lie, I made a huge amount of money, more than I've ever made before. Think about it. Around 60 million homes watching, nearly 250 million people. That's insane. But for me, it feels like everything went downhill after that. I honestly think that was my peak. When asked how I see the Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua fight going, I can't say for sure. I need to see it with my own eyes. Once they're both in the ring. If Paul starts his...
I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. I told y'all. They made Mike Tyson retract his statement on Twitter. They made him rewrite a post on top of deleting a post. Yeah, I told you that fight between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul was rigged. I told you that. I don't care what Mike Tyson is saying now. He have to do that to secure his money. He's still an investment for future exhibitions.
Looking back at his early boxing
could Jake
journey,
Paul have been a
people
champion?
still ask the
Is
big
it possible?
question.
The
Could Jake
insane
Paul have
ending
ever
is
become a real
already
champion?
locked in because
Was it even
Anthony
possible?
Joshua didn't
What
just
happened
knock
next
Jake
shocked
Paul
everyone.
out. He
The ending was
detonated an
brutal
entire
and unforgettable.
illusion and forced
Anthony
Mike
Joshua
Tyson
didn't
to
just beat
quietly
Jake Paul.
admit he chose a
He
script
completely
over
destroyed
blood.
the image that had been
And now
built around
boxing
him.
looks
That
fake in a
moment
way
shattered the
you
illusion.
can't walk back.
And it even pushed Mike Tyson
this
to
can't be
quietly
real.
admit
So
that he had chosen
rewind
a
with
planned
me,
story
because to
instead of a real
understand how
fight.
we got here,
Now,
you have to
boxing is being questioned in a way it never has before. To many fans, it suddenly feels staged, and that feeling can't be undone. It almost doesn't feel real. So let's go back and break it down. Because to truly understand how things reach this point, there's one hard truth you have to accept first.
Sat down on a podcast one time and he talked about it. He said, I don't want to do an exhibition against Floyd Mayweather. He said, I'm only doing real fights. And of course, I can't get up high in weight, but I'll fight him in a real fight at the weight that I'm at. But Jake Paul, I mean, as of right now, for what he's doing, it's good for what he's doing. But once he fights a real fighter, it's going to be bad.
You have to understand this clearly. This was never a real fight. It was a slow, painful betrayal that finally collapsed the moment a true heavyweight stepped in and faced a celebrity. At that point, reality took over and everything snapped back into place. I've been saying this from the start. I told you the truth. I told you they made Mike Tyson take back his statement on Twitter. They didn't just delete one post. They forced him to rewrite another. I warned everyone that the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight was staged. I said it before and I stand by it now. I don't care what Mike Tyson says today. He had no choice. He needed to protect his payday. He's still seen as an asset for future exhibition fights. And that's the truth. And honestly, I'm still trying to process all of it.
Still stuck.
Eddie, I want to follow with you because when this fight was first announced, you had said something to the effect of this would end Jake Paul's career. After what you saw tonight, do you think that Jake should continue to box, or what do you think the future holds?
Yeah, I really take my hat off. I mean, we have to see if it is a broken jaw. Those injuries are very difficult to come back from. But as AJ said, like that last shot would have knocked out a lot of heavyweights. And I know he went down heavy, but you know, he he was conscious on the floor. And I thought his game plan, although obviously very negative early on, which it had to be, was smart at times. And there were times where he held his feet and let his hands go. It was a very one-sided fight. It was always going to be a one-sided.
I'm still stuck on the image of Tyson sitting ringside, watching Joshua break Paul apart. That look on his face wasn't pride or shock. It was recognition mixed with regret. The kind of regret you feel deep inside when you realize someone else just did what you were paid not to do. Every bit of Tyson's experience felt that moment. And if you think it didn't hit him hard, you're only fooling yourself. Here's the part people don't like to think about, because it gets uncomfortable fast. Tyson could have stopped Jake Paul anytime he wanted to. Everyone in that arena knew it, including Jake himself. That's why Joshua's knockout matters so much. It proves the limits placed on Paul were always artificial, while the danger was always real. Once that truth came out, there was no way to hide it again. No amount of rewritten statements could fix it. The second Joshua dropped Paul in the 5th round, everything changed. Suddenly, every past fight was questioned under a much tougher spotlight, and you could almost feel it in the air.
You could feel. Are you in pain?
Yeah, but it's not from like talking.
Talk to me about what your jaw feels like, because you got
It's like a baseball in there.
two
then
plates?
It just feels like
4 titanium plates.
4 titanium plates. How many do you have?
Just 1.
I don't remember the fight that much. I kind of blanked out a little. Listen, know what I remember? Coming back from the 1st round, and then the next day I remember Jake is doing some kind of, I don't know, what was he doing at the ring?
Oh, yeah, a little bow at the end. He bowed.
And that's the last thing I remember. But the day after the fight, the day after I woke up, I told my wife, why did I do that? I don't know. I just don't know what the hell goes on.
What did you think of Jake's power, man, when you were in there?
Just hoping after this Floyd fight, maybe we can have a rematch. He did well, but I want to try it again.
Is that something that you would be interested in terms of righting the wrong?
Yes, I would. I would be interested.
Viewers everywhere started replaying the Tyson fight in their minds, asking the same uncomfortable questions at the same time. Why didn't he finish it? Why didn't he go all in? Why did that fight feel so different? Once those thoughts start repeating, they don't let go. I remember sitting on a podcast where Tyson talked about this mindset himself. He said he didn't want exhibition matches with people like Floyd Mayweather. He said he only wanted real fights at his real weight. He admitted that Jake Paul, for what he was doing at the time, was fine in his lane. But he also made one thing clear. Once Jake stepped in with a true, experienced fighter, things would turn ugly. People keep calling this fight a mismatch, but that word is too polite. What really happened was exposure. It was reality stepping back in after being ignored for too long. Joshua didn't rush anything. He waited, watched, and closed in. That's what makes it scary. When a real fighter takes his time, it's because he already knows how it will end. Jake felt that pressure building round after round. By the 6th round, it felt like a verdict had been delivered, not just through the punch, but through what it represented. That right hand didn't just damage a jaw. It destroyed the idea that this whole experiment could keep pretending to be real boxing. The moment titanium plates became part of the story, the joke stopped. Anyone still laughing after that is either numb or refusing to face reality. What really sent chills down my spine was Eddie Hearn saying he gave Jake his first fight, and Anthony Joshua might have given him his last. That wasn't trash talk. That sounded final. Promoters don't speak like that unless they truly believe the door is closing. And if you think Jake didn't hear those words echoing in his head while lying under hospital lights, you're missing how deep the damage really goes. After the fight, Eddie was asked directly if Jake should continue boxing. He gave him respect, but he didn't sugarcoat anything. A broken jaw is no small thing. Those injuries are hard to come back from. Even Joshua said that final shot would have dropped many heavyweight fighters. Jake went down hard but stayed conscious. His early strategy was defensive, maybe even negative, but it was necessary. At moments, he stood his ground and threw back. Still, it was one-sided, and everyone knew it would be. This fight forced a harsh comparison. One man followed a script, the other tore it apart. And history only remembers one of those choices, no matter how big the paycheck was. Call it conspiracy if you want. But Tyson himself cracked the door open when he admitted he barely remembers the fight and woke up the next day asking his wife why he did it. That's not the voice of someone proud of what happened. That's the voice of someone who knows he gave up something important. And regret, that only grows louder with time. Let me be clear, because this matters. Joshua didn't need to talk after the fight. His fists spoke for him, and the silence around him made the message even louder. When silence becomes the strongest statement in the room, the truth is impossible to twist. Every influencer turned fighter watching felt that moment in their gut, whether they admit it or not. When Jake was asked about the pain, he said it wasn't from talking, it was his jaw. Titanium plates were mentioned. Real damage, real consequences. And that's the part nobody wants to touch, because it threatens the entire system. If one true heavyweight can erase years of hype in 6 rounds, then how weak was that system to begin with? If that question makes people uncomfortable, it should. Somewhere behind the scenes, people are scrambling to control the fallout. Tyson later admitted he doesn't remember much of the fight at all. He recalls almost nothing. Just small moments, like Jake bowing in the ring. And again, the next day, the same question came out, why did I do that? That question says more than any press release ever could. I keep thinking about Tyson seeing the news of Jake's broken jaw, because you can't argue with biology. Marketing can spin stories, but bones don't lie. Seeing real physical damage forces you to face every moment you chose not to throw a real punch. If this doesn't bother Tyson deeply, then nothing will. Here's a thought that shouldn't be ignored. If Tyson is now openly saying money influenced outcomes, how many past fights are people about to question? Once trust starts breaking, it spreads fast. Boxing has always survived on belief, and right now, that belief is leaking away. Another thing that stands out is how calm Joshua looked the entire time. Calm fighters are the most dangerous and the most honest. His calm didn't look like someone chasing fame. It looked like someone correcting a mistake. And corrections don't stop with one person. They ripple outward. So the real question is, who feels exposed next? This story doesn't end with a knockout clip or a headline quote. The silence afterward feels controlled, almost too clean. And when things go quiet like that, it usually means deals are being rewritten and uncomfortable truths are being pushed aside. I don't trust it, not for a second. This situation is still unfolding, and something much uglier may be coming. When it does, this knockout will look like nothing more than a warning. Looking back, everything feels inevitable. Like the sport itself finally got tired of pretending and snapped back to reality. For years, the line between entertainment and competition was stretched too far. Joshua just happened to be the one standing there when it finally broke. What doomed this whole situation wasn't ambition or money. It was a belief that reality could be negotiated with hype and a big enough audience. Watching that belief collapse in real time is unsettling because it reminds us how much sports depend on trust. And once that trust cracks, you can't help but start questioning everything.